sorry, that's for a Democrat show.
Let me know when you're ready. No matter what the technical difficulty is, this man is a professional. He goes all the way.
What you represent to them is freedom.
Was an extremely great conservative commentator. We're tearing it up on Wednesday night. This is awesome. This will allow me to retort.
Well, this is Jersey Joe for the Reaver of Common Sense show. 8 p.m. on shrmedia.com.
Actually, I just totally screwed up. This show contains language that some viewers may find offensive. Listener discretion is advised. And now on to the show. And welcome to the Reaver of Common Sense. I am your host, Jersey Joe, and I'm making sense out of the senseless. The Jersey Takeover is here. We have expanded to 2 hours every Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you want to support the show and support SHR Media, go to reaver.one/shop. That's REAVER.ONE/SHOP. Oh, so how's everybody doing? It is Friday. That means weekend. That means a lot of World of Warcraft time. I know it's bad. I am 40-some years old, and I still play World of Warcraft. It's entertaining. It's relaxing. It's escape from reality without all the other. Okay, now that's funny. So a friend of mine just posted it's men's humor. They're gummy bears. It looks like a penis and a set of balls, and it says, "Eat a bag of dicks." Sorry, I think that's funny. Let's see. Where are we? Let's see. Let's go over a little bit on, I didn't get time yesterday, to do some of the fact checking. And we have a special guest calling in today. I think it's, 11:30? She'll be calling in. So, I'm still trying to wake up. I'm still in a little daze here. Whoa. Also haven't got my full coffee in me, so. Now, Hillary had made a statement during the debate that Planned Parenthood covers other things besides abortion, and it covers cancer screenings and all this other bullcrap. Well, it's pretty much mostly a false statement. This is a repeated claim deployed in defense of Planned Parenthood, but it is not true, at least as regards to breast cancer. As the left-leaning Washington Post fact-checker wrote in 2015, when Democratic lawmakers and other supporters assert that Planned Parenthood provides mammograms, this is slightly misleading language because it could be interpreted to mean that the group directly administers the X-rays. The group does not provide mammograms. Rather, the situation is similar to other clinics where patients are referred to a licensed facility that can provide biopsies, X-rays, and other specialty service. It is slightly more accurate to say that women have access to mammograms via Planned Parenthood, though it's still slippery language. The Post awarded 3 Pinocchios out of 4 to the claim that Planned Parenthood provides mammograms. Planned Parenthood does offer Pap tests and HPV testing, which are screenings for cervical cancer. So the claim is not completely false, but mostly so. And then the disgusting one, Donald Trump spoke of partial birth abortions, ripping babies apart. Well, that one is true. Hillary Clinton was very uncomfortable with Donald Trump's gruesome description of a partial birth abortion procedures. But Donald was right. Pro-abortion activists don't like the term partial birth abortion, preferring the more sanitized medical term, dilation and extraction. The basic idea behind the procedure is to remove the fetus partially from the womb, where it is most commonly killed by puncturing the skull with scissors or a similar implement. However, there is a dismemberment abortion, variations on the procedures, which does involve ripping the fetus apart to reduce the danger to the mother from the hazardous partial birth abortion procedure. As to how common such procedures are, there is some uncertainty about how often the procedure is used, but 500 to 1,000 per year is often cited as an estimate. The Congressional Budget Office has estimated there are about 10,000 late-term abortions per year, but the vast majority of them are not partial birth abortions. Well, I've talked about it ad nauseum. I do believe sometimes there's cause for an abortion. Not late term, not partial birth. But saying that, and this is the biggest thing I got a bitch with the Democrat Party on this whole issue. I've gone over this again ad nauseum. They talk about, dang it. They talk about how they ban guns in a heartbeat, limit them if it just saved one child. But then they want abortions on demand. They don't want one child then. And then they fight against the death penalty. They protect criminals left, right, and center. Even if it saved just one child. They don't make sense. And our guest wrote a great article. Well, Facebook article. I'll put it. Either way, great article. And it talks about the direct conflict that Democrat Party has, and it seems that it's more a look at me, look at me, look at me type deal. And this is one of them. They want abortions on demand, but then they want to do restrictions, banning of guns. But if it saves just one child, and that's their famous term, if it saves just one child, one person, then they don't want murderers put to death. They don't want to secure our borders. They don't want to stop terrorists from coming into this country. It's mind-boggling. It is mind-boggling on the direct conflicts the Democrat Party has. They can't even justify all their stances that are in direct conflict with each other. They just ignore it and go on. That's the funny part. And it really pissed me off with the WikiLeaks and the Veritas videos. They just dismiss them and go on, ignore. They're not even, oh, no, I didn't write that email. That's, well, this was changed. This is what I wrote, and that's what's changed. They just, Hillary says on record as saying that it is a Donald Trump conspiracy about the Veritas videos. Democrat operatives and employees make these statements, but it's Donald Trump. Something don't add up there. Democrat personnel write these emails. They write these incriminating emails. And it's Donald Trump's fault. And this is what people want to elect. A bunch of men and women that cannot take responsibility for their own actions. Can't take responsibility and own up to their own actions. Do you think they're going to represent us? No. You sit there and you say, you think Donald Trump is going to do this. You think Donald Trump's going to do that. Well, I'm going to tell you, I know Hillary Clinton's going to ignore what's best for the American people. She's proving it time and time and time again. How can people keep falling for it? So I don't understand. Hillary Clinton writes an email about open borders. And everybody, it's not about open borders. It's about electricity. Jesus Christ, people. Wake up. I can't believe people are that easily persuaded. That scares me. Oh, and last night, Iraq forces, or excuse me, ISIS forces attacked Iraq again. Kirko, something like that was the name of the city. I don't know. If we did not have a president that was so friggin' gung-ho on running away from Iraq, Iraq may have been done with by now. And don't give me the BS. The Status Forces Agreement. Simple-minded people. Simple-minded. You do remember that Obama campaigned on the promise that he would bring home every single military personnel. He campaigned on, I will bring everybody home from Iraq. He campaigns on that. But yet it's Bush's fault. Ay. People buy it. People just jump in with both legs. Oh, he said we didn't have a status of forces agreement. We couldn't keep. Well, how do we have our troops there now if we don't have a status of forceman agreement? If we couldn't get one, how are our forces back in Iraq? It seems that they lie. This is Hillary Clinton on the open borders. She said she dreams. My dream is a hemispheric common market with open trade and open borders. Sometime in the future with energy that is green and sustainable as we can get it. Powering growth and opportunity in every person in the hemisphere. What more do you need to show you that this woman is not out for the betterment of the United States? As president, she'll be more worried about every other country than the United States. She will flood our market with immigrants. I have no problem with immigrants, but she's going to up the amount. And what they're doing is they're trying to flood the market with new Democrat voters. Surprise, surprise. It's It's scary. And this going after Russia on these WikiLeaks. Obama's administration has blamed Russian hackers for WikiLeaks, and Russia naturally denies the charge. The fact that the Obama administration had pointed the finger at Russia is not, as lawyers like to say, well, dispositive. The CENTCOM scandal showed that the Obama administration is fully prepared to alter intelligence, even battlefield reports, to deliver a politically convenient result. And there is nothing more convenient than to lay the embarrassment of WikiLeaks at the feet of the Trump campaign. The New York Times, of all sources, wrote in July that it was not clear whether Guccifer, the hacker widely blamed for the leak of the DNC emails, was working for Russia or not. WikiLeaks has not said how it had obtained the emails. Guccifer 2.0 claimed in a blog post last month to have sent them to WikiLeaks. Now, American intelligence officials believe that Guccifer 2.0 is a front for the GRU, Russian Military Intelligence Service, according to federal official briefs on intelligence. Now, Guccifer has denied those claims, or Guccifer 2.0. And then Clinton has gone further, claiming that Trump actively wanted Russia to conduct espionage against the United States. That part of the statement is false and relies on a joke Trump made in July in response to prodding by journalists that he hoped the Russians would find Hillary's missing emails because no one else would. So while it is reasonable to conclude that Russia may be responsible, it is wrong to conclude that with certainty, and certainly wrong to tie Russia hacking to Trump without any real evidence. It's absolute. I don't even believe, I'm not sure, I should say, if Russia is even involved in this. And don't give me the foreign government shouldn't be interfering with our election. It's so wrong. What about Obama and this administration and the Democrat Party interfering in Israel's election? What about Obama and the Democrat Party trying to interfere with the BritX vote? Time and time again, we have interfered with other countries' elections. So right, wrong, or indifferent, we might be getting our just dessert. And they're exposing truth. They're not manufacturing evidence. They're exposing the truth. Period. They're exposing the truth. And while everybody keeps trying to hide the truth, Hillary Clinton wanted the wall. Republican presidential nominee Donald Trump said during the third presidential debate that Hillary Clinton wanted the wall when she was a U.S. Senator from New York. Then Senator in September of 2006 voted in favor of building a 700-mile wall along the Mexican border for purpose of stopping illegal immigrants from entering the United States. The Secure Fence Act of 2006 goal was to help secure America's border to decrease illegal entry and drug trafficking. Clinton voted yay in support of said bill. You're listening to the Reaver of Common Sense right here on SHR Media, High Plains Pundit Radio, ICRN Network, Red Nation Rising Radio, YouTube, Spreaker, and iTunes. We will be right back.
listening to the SHR Media Network.
Now, at Brownells, we know you may have only one shot to harvest that trophy, so we have thousands of accessories and replacement parts to improve your chances. We know how much you love to shoot, so our Gunsmiths articles and videos will help you do more and get more out of your guns. And we also value your hard work and money. That's why only Brownells backs up everything we sell with a 100% unconditional lifetime guarantee. Brownells, the world's largest supplier of firearm accessories and gunsmithing tools.
Breaking news. According to the latest report coming out of SHR Media, a merchandise store to support both the Reaver of Common Sense and SHR Media has just been unleashed to the general public. Be forewarned that this site can be contagious and numerous items can be purchased to support the best news programming. Go to Reaver.one website and click on the store link to check out the merchandise.
Listening to Reaver of Common Sense, hosted by my dad, Jersey Joe. Beware, the Jersey Takeover is here. Every Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You can catch the Reaver of Common Sense show, hosted by Jersey Joe, right here on shrmedia.com and highplainsdailynews.com. Only Jersey can deliver hell like no one else, so consider this your fair warning.
In a world controlled by corrupt politicians,
You got a business. That you didn't build that.
a team of ordinary men emerge from the ashes to give voice to the voiceless and hope to the hopeless. Sackhead Sean.
Dude, I'm not saying cop for the stupid pro.
Sackhead Clint.
All good friends of ours usually show up drunk.
Also starring Sacco as the producer.
I'm a little bit drunk, 'cause I'm drinking.
They are the Sackheads Radio Show. Every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Pacific on shrmedia.com.
Every Wednesday night, 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, you can catch the Southside Mutt Show with its hosts, the Jersey Boys, Jersey Joe and Crash, right here on SHR Media and High Plains Pundit Radio, where we will be digging up the dirt.
Times are dark. The people misled by corrupt politicians, lied to by establishment media, and deceived by the false messages of Islam. A nation in confusion needs a guide. It needs a man with a cane. I'm Dave Milner. Join me on Spreaker, SHR Media, High Plains Talk Radio, Live Rebooting Liberty, and YouTube for a unique brand of commentary on the unpleasant blind guide. Because truth is not always pleasant.
If you miss a show, don't worry. You can catch the replays two ways, rebootingliberty.com or the reaverofcommonsense.com. While you're there on Reaver of Common Sense, don't forget, drop in your email and keep up to date with everything going on, or click the like button on the Facebook widget. Now on to the Reaver of Common Sense.
Listening to the SHR Media Network.
This show contains language that some viewers may find offensive. Listener discretion is advised. And now on to the show. And welcome back to the Reaver of Common Sense. I am your host, Jersey Joe, and I'm trying to make sense out of the senseless. The Jersey Takeover is here. We have expanded to 2 hours every Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you want to support the show and support SHR Media, go to reaver.1/shop. All right, I just came across the article. So Hillary says 17 U.S. intelligence agencies may be the biggest, most immediately disprovable. Well, excuse me. She said the 17 agencies are the ones that said that Russia's hacking, and WikiLeaks saying that's immediately its most disprovable whopper ever intentionally made in a debate. 17 U.S. agencies, intelligence agencies, include Coast Guard. Now, I'm not trying to knock the Coast Guard, but DEA, Naval Intelligence, Department of Energy, and Air Force Recon. Now, WikiLeaks got a little backup from Politico. Politico gave Clinton's statement as mostly negative fact-checked. While they're willing to accept the 17 intelligence agencies tally, they pointed out that contrary to Clinton's assertion, those agencies have not stated that Vladimir Putin personally ordered any such operation. Fingers were pointed at Russia senior-most officers, but not Putin himself. More importantly, Politico notes that while the intelligence community said that leaks earlier this year from WikiLeaks were consistent with the method and motivation of Russian-directed efforts, it has not directly tied the recent WikiLeaks releases of Clinton's campaign chair, John Podesta's personal email to Russia. When Clinton made these remarks during the debate, she was responding to a question on the content of Podesta's leaks. I want to welcome Carrie. She is one of the many personnel with SHR Media. How are you doing today?
I'm doing well, thanks. How are you?
I'm doing good. It's been a while since we last talked. Glad you could make it on. What was the last time? The convention.
Right. Oh, my gosh. That was like a million years ago.
I know. Feels like eons ago. Listen, I saw your article you posted today about the I Want a Divorce.
Okay, yeah.
Let me tell you, that is a great piece. And I'm not just saying that. I love how you use the analogy of the divorce and how you pointed out the direct conflict that the Democrats have with themselves. And I never put it in that context, but that's what I've talked about. And before you got an air, I was talking about how they scream that they want to, if it saves just one child, they would ban guns or, more restrictions. But yet they push for abortions. Well, if you want to save just one child, why don't you stop the abortions? I mean, they're always in direct conflict. They say they're for the gays, lesbians, the whole alphabet soup community. And I'm meaning it as a joke, people. But yet they take money and back up these extreme Muslim groups that kill the gays. I just... It was a great piece, and thank you. I shared that. I would like to put that on my website, too, if you don't mind.
Yeah, go ahead, please.
All right.
I'm glad it touched someone. Because, I just feel like sometimes I'm just shouting into a big, huge, like one of those big fans in a big tunnel. It's going nowhere, and I'm just screaming, into this void.
I know the feeling. I really do. And it's when you get that one person that comes up and says something, it does vindicate you sometimes. So I think we're paid attention to more than we realize with what we're saying. And I think there's more people that feel that they're screaming into that void, too. And they got to realize they're not alone.
They're not alone. Well, which is one of the tools that the left uses on us constantly, through all of their different resources that they have, is they're constantly marginalizing us and making us feel isolated. Mm-hmm. And there's a very good reason for that, is because if we got together and started talking to each other, like we feel better. We feel emboldened. We feel empowered to go and do something. So mockery, shame, humiliation, those are all tools. They're all Alinsky tools. They work. They're very successful with it. And I've been talking for years about how, because I have a lot of experience with this kind of model, this person, this Hillary Clinton person, the way to make them stop is not to accommodate them. It's to turn around and push back on them. Mm-hmm. So, but it's hard because most people want peace. They just want to be left alone. Like I was thinking of, a man in his garage. He just wants to be left alone to work on his car. Yeah. He just wants to go hunting. He just wants to go and do what he wants to do. And there's this woman constantly after him, nagging him. And that's what I see, the Democrats and Republicans, or Americans and anti-Americans, is how I really see it shaking out now.
And I had with my parents, within the last 7 years, they've always kind of stayed out of politics. We're just one person. We can't change anything. And they've been beaten down by that system too, and they were like, well, we don't feel like other people, so they kind of, well, since we're the lone thinkers of this, we'll just get along. It's, why rock the boat type deal, and that's what the Democrats, as you said, counted on. And that's I see it in people's lives. My parents, they were just like, well, we're the only ones thinking this, so. Well, I guess everybody else is right since everybody else thinks the other way. And the Democrat Party loves to do that. And they love to make you feel small and alone so that you will get along with them. And
right. And then they make you feel small and alone because you feel this way. Then they contradict themselves and they make you feel small and alone because you feel that way. And you can never make them happy because they'll continue. The purpose is just to make you feel small and alone. It's not actually what you believe in. So you can say, okay, now I believe in this, and then they'll make you feel small and alone because of that. Okay, but that's what you wanted, and now that's what I'm doing. And so there's no appeasement for them, because the the joy is, not to get you to change your opinion because they really want you to be aligned with they're not really steeped in anything. This is not, they don't really have an ideology. They just want to win.
Yeah. And they're ever changing their ideology so that you can't really pinpoint and go, wait a minute, they're filling me full of bullshit. They change everything before you can really start to look at the facts on anything. The one that I laugh about is I had a couple women coming at me on Twitter that I'm a sexist because I'm not voting for Hillary because I'm against women. I need to vote for her because she's a woman. I was like, well, that makes you sexist. No, we can't be sexist. You're voting for a candidate because of her gender.
Right.
That's sexist. Block.
I'll tell you something a lot. If this makes you feel any better, when I was a young girl, and I was living in Hollywood, California, and I happened upon this newspaper, and the article was basically like, "Hi, I'm Barbara Boxer, and I'm running for whatever because I'm a woman, so vote for me." And I just remember standing there and looking at it and thinking, "What? Vote for me because I'm a woman?" And that was the first time I had heard that line. That infuriated me. So there are other women out there who see things like that and just say, that it actually forces them to stop and think and run away from that kind of feminism.
Oh, I mean, I know we're going off from the original topic, but I had I was reading an article of one of these feminist professors. And she was teaching her students, and I was watching it with my mom. And my mom almost can't. I mean, she's 70-some years old, and it lit her up. And she's teaching the students that even if you're married, all sex with men is rape by men. No woman wants to have sex with men.
Right.
My mom came off the couch and was furiated that girls are being taught that. That's bullshit. I like having sex. I'm like, Mom, I don't need to know that. Stop.
Well, probably what your mom was reacting to is because she actually has probably some ethical and moral standards. The original feminist movement was basically a sexual liberation movement. So we don't have to talk too much about that. But partially in that model was that women are allowed to enjoy sex without feeling guilty. That's how they kind of got women involved in the first wave feminism. So to women, that struck a chord at the time. And so they started to form their worldview around, without being too graphic, women do enjoy sex sometimes. So that's how they got the first wave feminism really going. So now they're contradicting themselves completely.
True.
Now they're telling young women all sex is rape. It's completely not. It's not even resembling the original feminism. So if your mother ever had, said, I kind of agree with some of those things that they're saying, she probably feels foolish now, saying, well, wait a minute, and that's what happens to people who have a foundation, who have any kind of ethical or moral standards in their lives. They start to say, well, I can't keep changing and flip-flopping just to appease you and please you because I've made a stand over here because I believe in that. And now you're telling me you want me to believe in this just because it's under this umbrella of feminism.
Yeah, it's mind-boggling. Well, with me, when my mom started talking about sex, and you got to know my mom, she'll start talking a little bit too much in depth, and it's like, I don't want to hear about my parents having sex. Stop.
Nobody wants to hear that.
No. Now I won't tell that joke. I would mess my wife on a joke, and it's a little dirty. But we'll get on to. I had sent you a file last night, and it was a Benson group.
Yes, so interesting. I had not seen that until you sent it to me.
It was interesting, and like we had talked about, the first half of it, I could see it being an actual poll. What this also was, so since I didn't explain, there's supposedly one of the companies that go around polling people, and it's very in favor of Donald Trump. Now, supposedly, I've read that Anonymous was supposed to have hacked this file.
Right.
And at first I was reading it, and everything was lining up with a lot of things that I'm hearing within the campaigns. Donald Trump is ahead, that Hillary supporters are very easily persuaded not going to vote. They're going to vote higher hell water. And as I read the article more, it really started getting a little scary. Let me see if I can find it. What did you find on the company while I looked this document up? Because I'm not.
So when you sent it to me and I read it, I thought my instinct was this sounds like I'm dealing with a psychopath. Because how a psychopath deals with it is they put a little truth out there, and then they try to infiltrate the truth with where they want you to go. And oftentimes where they want you to go is into crazy town so that they can go, look, you're crazy. Okay? So it triggered me. Like I'm dealing with a psychopath here. So, but I don't know because there's so much going on right now. Anonymous is this particular kind of group. DNC leaks is this kind of group. WikiLeaks is this kind of group. So I had the sort of the same reaction as you too, as I'm reading more and more about it. But I don't trust myself completely, so I like to try to find my little touchstones of who I think is dealing in reality and see what they feel about it. So I went on to Twitter and I looked it up. I just put in, the name of the group to see what a variety of people were saying. And I found at the top Roger Stone. And I find myself going to him a lot to kind of fact-check some things. And he just put it up on his Twitter, and he didn't make a comment about it. So I'm like, that is odd. So I went and I read the comments. It seems to me like there's some discussion basically saying the same thing that you and I are saying. It sounds like some facts intermingled with some, like, you know, really tinfoil hat conspiracy stuff, which is what we're always accused of. So there's no place where I have found yet where anybody is confirming that this document is anything other than psychops. And it seems like from the left and the right, both are having the same reaction to it, which is, what is this thing that we're looking at?
Yeah,
it's telling of how crazy this whole psyop cyber thing is becoming.
To give towards the bottom of the document, after they go through a bunch of stats, 15% would vote if, a storm broke out. It breaks it down into that, and it goes into non-recommended salvage options, because the whole document, I think, is called salvage. And,
right.
Optional scenario, Red Dawn. Support is too widespread, while an RD scenario using UN forces Canadian border infiltrate would be effective in shutting down northern voting. It would simply delay the inevitable and result in hardened support for Mr. Trump. Risk/issues. Loss of property and life. Alt-right forces are prepared for battle. So now I'm kind of reading this, and just that Red Dawn one at first was like, something's not... You can't be that obvious to call it that. Cobalt Rain is the next one. The public has been primed for radiological attack, and stockpile have been positioned by while the psychologically impacted of a CO-60 weapon is severe, the threshold of opportunity may have passed for this to stop a vote. Risk issue, loss of profit under martial law, leaks could be compromised. Now, this one right here, just you're going to release radioactive material for a vote?
Right, and doesn't that, and that's where I start to go, they're trying to scare people.
Yep.
They're trying to leak it out and put some little facts in there so that we go, okay, this lines up, in our little minds, this lines up. Now, I feel like my reaction to it is they're trying to just disenfranchise people. They're trying to marginalize us. They're trying to make us stay in our houses because their idea of us is that we're crazy conspiracy kooks who hide under our covers.
The martial law part really jumped out at me because everybody,
right?
not everybody, a lot of people have been saying, he's going to declare martial law. Throw that in there and throw fear into people.
Uh-huh. And I know for a fact that what they want to do, they being the establishment, what they want to do is they want to make us stay home and not vote. Because the less people who vote, the more likely their chances of stealing this election by voter fraud are going to happen. And that's not a conspiracy kook crazy, I'm walking around with tinfoil on my head. That's just the truth. If you work at the polls, you know what the strategy is. They've won by that strategy.
Oh, yeah. So, the Veritas video shows that they have won by illegal voting. And also here at Reaver of Common Sense, we have tinfoil fedora hats. So,
right. I love it. I need one.
What scares me with the voting? Okay, here in Florida, I got to show a driver's license. We got to show some form of ID. That's fine. I'm very much for it. Now, Crash, he's done some volunteer work at the polls in New Jersey.
Uh-huh.
You cannot ask for any identification. If I walk up and say, Joe Schmo from wherever, they hand me the paperwork for me to vote.
Mm-hmm.
That is like, and it goes back to you got to show paper. You got to show ID for everything else in modern life.
Right.
But this is the only, and 70% of minorities polled don't have an issue with voter ID laws.
Right. Oh, we've gone here in North Carolina. We even had Eric Holder involved in our case to try to have people showing IDs for voting, and it's gone back and forth and back and forth. The people voted yes. They wanted to have a requirement to show ID at the polls. Then Eric Holder stepped in, and it's just been. It's made national news. It's just very disruptive. The people want it, but the federal government doesn't want it for us. And so North Carolina is some kind of battleground state. We're constantly being turned over and in turmoil. Now we were told that this time we were going to have voter ID, and again at early voting yesterday, no ID is required. Which really helps with the busing in of all of the, illegals, immigrants, people who are not supposed to be voting, people who vote numerous times with dead people's names, etc. So it's very obvious when you work the polls, and you can see why you need the ID. And then the videos, James O'Keefe's videos that come out, basically, busting them, saying, we're taking people over state lines and busting them around. I can't tell you how many different people I saw yesterday standing in line who don't speak any English.
Yeah, well, it's not even. Well, they also say, Hispanics and Latinos are not for Trump. Now, here in Florida, the area I'm in is, just a little bit east of Tampa. But we also are the capital of strawberry fields for the United States. If you're eating a strawberry, it's a large chance it came from this area. And
love strawberries.
Literally, you could buy, large quantities of strawberry dirt cheap. There's strawberry farms like up and down 60 near my house. You can't throw a rock without hitting a strawberry.
Well, that's interesting.
So we got a lot of Hispanics in my area. In fact, we call Plant City Little Mexico. It's Hispanic. And the other day, my neighbor had hired a landscaping company who happened to be a husband-wife Hispanic. I'm laughing because it's just that stereotype. And I was putting up a Trump Pence sign. And I'm thinking, oh, great, here comes a confrontation. The woman comes over and is cheering me. And she's like, I'm glad to see people putting these signs up. I looked at her. I was like, so you're for Trump? She's like, hell yeah. And her husband comes over. I don't want that witch Hillary Clinton. She'll open the borders and all the illegals will come in. And I'm just looking like, I looked at him and I even said, I thought Hispanics were against. She goes, no, I don't know a Hispanic that's not voting for him. She goes, wait, the illegals want to vote for Hillary because they want a green card. She goes, I came here legally. I don't want them with a free ride. I was like, ooh, snap. But that fits what I'm hearing compared to what the establishment is telling us. The establishment is telling us it's going to be a low voter turnout. But
if you look, this is one thing that Trump campaign has done that's really smart. There's some things that I don't know if I should comment on them, but he has all of these different little councils. And one of them that he has is a Hispanic council. And when he went down to Miami, and you can go on live stream and you can watch this, it's absolutely uplifting and so positive. But he had a discussion with the Hispanic community in Miami, where they come in and they were talking to him. So it's sort of a roundtable discussion of Hispanic Americans, and they loved him. Of course, he's going to bring people in who love him, but these were leaders in the Hispanic community, and they had many complex reasons why they loved him, and they'd been loving him for a very long time. And so what that says to me is those are the leaders who are going into those communities, and they're organizing, and many of them made the point of, we came here to this country, and many of us, so they had 30 years, 20 years, 5 years, whatever, a year, all of these different people, and they basically were saying, we want you to protect our religious freedom. They were very big on religious freedom, and we want you to protect our economic freedom. And those were buzzwords that they were using, because Hillary Clinton isn't going to protect their economic freedom. And many of them are saying, we came from Cuba, we came from Venezuela, we came from all of these places. We don't want this kind of stuff. And so, I encourage you, I'm going to try to find it and give you a link, but the discussion that he had, maybe it was a week ago, 2 weeks ago when he was in Florida. I know it's on Right Side Broadcasting. that might be something interesting for you to push around to any Hispanic leaders that you know. But they've been doing a great job. They've gotten that all out. And, of course, the mainstream media doesn't cover it because he's not running his campaign the way that everyone else runs their campaign. He does these little...
That's why I think he's winning. Because he's not running it the way that they've run it all these years. The Republicans have been kowtowing to the Democrats. The Democrats know how to win an election against the Republican. Accuse him of being racist and sexist, the Republican will start apologizing and back down. Trump doesn't do that. He just... That's bullshit and just keeps going. Listen, we got to go to a break real quick.
Male. He's the alpha male. He just, you know, he's not going to lay down. I love it.
All right, we got to hit a break real quick. Hopefully you're going to stick around longer. You're listening to the Reaver of Common Sense right here on SHR Media, High Plains Pundit Radio, ICRN Network, Red Nation Rising Radio, YouTube Speaker, and iTunes. We will be right back.
Listening to the SHR Media Network. Now, Brownells, we know you may have only one shot to harvest that trophy, so we have thousands of accessories and replacement parts to improve your chances. We know how much you love to shoot, so our gunsmiths articles and videos will help you do more and get more out of your guns. And we also value your hard work and money. That's why only Brownells backs up everything we sell with a 100% unconditional lifetime guarantee. Brownells, the world's largest supplier of firearm accessories and gunsmithing tools.
Breaking news. According to the latest report coming out of SHR Media, a merchandise store to support both the Reaver of Common Sense and SHR Media has just been unleashed to the general public. Be forewarned that this site can be contagious and numerous items can be purchased to support the best news programming. Go to Reaver.one website and click on the store link to check out the merchandise.
Listening to Reaver of Common Sense, hosted by my dad, Jersey Joe. Beware, the Jersey Takeover is here. Every Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You can catch the Reaver of Common Sense show, hosted by Jersey Joe, right here on SHRmedia.com and HighPlainsDailyNews.com. Only Jersey can deliver hell like no one else, so consider this your fair warning.
In a world controlled by corrupt politicians,
You got a business. That you didn't build that.
a team of ordinary men emerge from the ashes to give voice to the voiceless and hope to the hopeless. Sackhead Sean,
Dude, I'm not saying cop for the stupid pro.
Sackhead Clint,
All good friends of ours usually show up drunk.
also starring Sacco as the producer.
I'm a little bit drunk, 'cause I'm drinking.
They are the Sackheads Radio Show. Every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Pacific on SHRmedia.com.
Every Wednesday night, 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, you can catch the Southside Mud Show with its hosts, the Jersey Boys, Jersey Joe and Crash, right here on SHR Media and High Plains Pundit Radio, where we will be digging up the dirt.
Times are dark. The people misled by corrupt politicians, lied to by establishment media, and deceived by the false messages of Islam. A nation in confusion needs a guide. It needs a man with a cane. I'm Dave Milner. Join me on Spreaker, SHR Media, High Plains Talk Radio, Live Rebooting Liberty, and YouTube for a unique brand of commentary on the unpleasant blind guide. Because truth is not always pleasant.
If you miss a show, don't worry. You can catch the replays two ways, rebootingliberty.com or the Reaver of Common Sense.com. While you're there on Reaver of Common Sense, don't forget, drop in your email and keep up to date on everything going on, or click the like button on the Facebook widget. Now on to the Reaver of Common Sense.
Listening to the SHR Media Network.
This show contains language that some viewers may find offensive. Listener discretion is advised. And now on to the show. And welcome back to the Reaver of Common Sense. I am your host, Jersey Joe, and I'm trying to make sense out of the senseless. The Jersey Takeover is here. We have expanded to 2 hours every Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Today we got a very special guest, Carrie Donovan, and what's funny is we take a commercial break, and then we kept going with our conversation on politics. It was like we didn't even step off air for a commercial. We just kept going with the discussion.
You can't stop. We love it so much.
My wife always give me dirty looks going, just shut up. I don't want to talk about it. Leave me alone.
It's therapy. You have to talk about it. Talk therapy.
Well, she doesn't understand is a lot of times I'll use her as a sounding board, or I try to use her as a sounding board. Does this sound logical to you? Does my train of thought? And she'll just be like, yeah. I'm like, you're not even paying attention. What did I say? Huh? Yeah, I thought so.
Then I'll just have to go find someone who's equally as obsessed.
Well, I crashed Sean, and I sent you that document last night, and I sent Sean, and I mean, I didn't publish it or anything. I felt kind of stupid for doing it, but it's kind of like, all right, you know, that's why I sent it out, because I had that feeling it might be shenanigans, it might not, you know.
Right.
Actually, because the scenarios got worse, I think. I think the scenarios got worse in that document. Yeah, where did it go? I lost it. Well, can't lose what you don't have, but... All right, the next one was the BLM riot. Again, while staged civil unrest could prevent pockets of Americans from voting, the damage is too widespread. And the risk and issue is command and control is dicey at this point, as substantial numbers of employed minorities have defected to Trump. Now, this one is actually kind of plausible, because we've seen through the Project Veritas videos, the James O'Keefe videos, that they were responsible for the civil unrest to the Trump rallies. And the thing that popped in my head is there was some people severely injured. And I've heard conflicting reports in Chicago that there was one Trump supporter who was murdered, possibly due to the riots that went on. Well, if that's true, Bob Creamer, Foval, and Mr. Black, who's watched too many movies, should be charged in that murder. If they are the ones that started it and there was injury or loss of life, they are directly responsible for that. But, of course, our current government won't do nothing.
Well, that's the problem that we're having from every level of government everywhere, is how corrupt everything is, and people just unwilling to speak out, people unwilling to follow the law. Yeah, it's very discouraging, but that's the purpose of it. That's just get everything chaotic and turned around so that you feel like your vote doesn't count, and that you're not a voice, that you don't know what's going on, to confuse people. They're very good at it.
Oh, yeah. Because Sheriff Clark is on Fox right now for Outnumbered, and they're talking about how Trump wouldn't say that he would accept the election results. And I kind of laugh because the media is throwing a hissy fit over it. And I'm thinking, if that's the biggest takeaway negative that they got on Trump from the debate, holy shit, are they digging? Hold on. You still have Al Gore and the Democrats whining and crying about the 2000 to 2004 election, that it was stolen from them.
They have to laugh. If you're a parent and you've dealt with children, if there's nothing left to do but laugh, because they are like children and we are adults, and we are saying, okay, but see, first of all, if that's your takeaway, then you're not looking in the right place. You're not applying any logic to what you're reading, and you're having some self-control problems here. So we need to sit down and discuss this, because this is not appropriate. You're not going to make it in life and survive on your own if these are your coping skills or the skills that you're using in your mind to solve problems. So it's getting to the point where I'm laughing that, first of all, okay, let's say it was the Russians. If it was the Russians, then why has Hillary and anybody else not reported Putin to the UN?
Okay, actually, and now that you bring it up, I was talking about it also before you came on air. They talk about it's Putin.
Uh-huh.
Couple of the 17 U.S. intelligence agency, one of them is the Coast Guard. Now, I'm not knocking the Coast Guard, but when I talk about international intelligence agencies, Coast Guard doesn't pop out at me. DEA, Naval Intelligence, Department of Energy, and Air Force Recon are a couple. Now, what's even worse is Politico. Said the statement of it's Russia, or Putin and Russia and 17 agencies is mostly negative. Fact check. Politico is even saying it's a lie. There's never been any agency that said it was Putin. They always say it's maybe some senior operatives within Russia. They have never definitively said it was Russia. They said there is a possibility it has the appearance of being Russia.
Right, and I think I even skipped a step at my own logic there. I get distracted for a second, but talking about how they chose to highlight that he said that he wouldn't accept the outcome, or however it was that he stated that, and then they want to at the same time say the Russians are tampering, the Russians are throwing it, the Russians are doing all of this. At the same time, Trump reported the Russians, and so who in that context would say, I'm looking and I'm surveying all of this that is going on, and you're telling me that before it's happened, I have to accept the outcome without knowing what is going on. You're saying Russians are doing something. You're saying that there's voter fraud, but there's not voter fraud, and you're acting all kinds of crazy. And knowing, like you're saying, the intel, that there hasn't been anybody who's reported it. So logically, an adult would stand back from the conversation and say, let's wait and see what happens. I'm not going to commit myself to anything right now. And then when it happens, we'll see what the details are of it first. Any good businessman is going to say, let me see the details of that contract before I sign it. So, right.
Yeah, they're not used to a businessman. The public and the media is so used to politicians that tell you what you want to hear, where a businessman says, I want to know the facts before I open my mouth. Because if they open their mouth before the facts come out, they could be liable for millions of dollars. And I had told you the one thing that popped in my head. You had Obama and the Democrats are saying for Trump to stop whining about the election is rigged. At the same time, they're crying that Russia is rigging the election.
Right. I think you made that point.
Yeah.
I went, yeah, wait a minute. Right. And
it goes to your theory that they directly conflict each other because, well, they're telling Trump to stop whining as they whine, and it's, oh my God, I want to bash myself in the head. And the other day when Obama came out and he was going, oh, Trump needs to stop whining and just the election's not rigged. And my dad's going, why the hell did he come out with that? And I came home, and that's when the WikiLeaks, or not WikiLeaks, the Project Veritas video dropped. A half hour before it went public, he was out there screaming that everybody needs to stop with the rigging of the election comments.
Right. Well, yes. And, it's something that I thought of today, this morning. Everything is relative to them. And okay, so everything is relative to them. Oh, this isn't a big deal. And they'll just belittle whatever you say. Everything is relative. What is it relative to? I've been driving myself crazy trying to figure out what is their source of decision-making. Everything is relative to their feelings. They want to win. Everything is relative to their feelings. Well, many of them are substance abuse users. They're alcoholics. They're drug addicts. And they're also emotional vampires. So everything is, so you try to figure out what are their feelings, what is their feelings, what's the source of their feelings, how are they going to feel about something, so that you can project outward and try to navigate, the world with them, living with them, and you realize you can't even figure out, you can't even tack them down to this is typical behavior of Obama, because everything is relative to his feelings. Right? Yeah. If he's feeling good, he says this. If he's feeling negative, he says that. It's not based on any foundation, any tradition, any founding document. If you go back to try to figure out, okay, how do I work together with you to come to a compromise, it depends on how he's feeling that day. That's maddening. That's maddening to people who are logical, methodical, thoughtful even, concerned, who are trying to protect our founding documents so that we can all live in a civil society. That's why they drive us crazy.
I love your emotional vampire. That just had me chuckling over here. I love that.
Don't you feel it that way after you've had a conversation with them?
Oh,
they're just like on top of you, sucking your energy out. They won't stop. They won't. You put the hand up and you say, "No, stop."
He said mean things. Oh, my God. Hillary killed 4 people. She was never convicted. I swear I need to start, ramming my head into a concrete wall to kill enough brain cells that their conversations make sense.
That's right. You ever just stand there and just, this happens to me all of the time, especially with women. I'm sorry, listen. It does. It happens with women. I just stand there trying to figure out this is like jumping down a rabbit hole. How do we get here? I can't even follow. There's not a path of logic. I'm a mean person. I like to try to get along with people, and I don't really care about parties so much. I could get along with somebody from a different party. Okay, so, right. Does my brain stop or something? I can't get there. I can't figure it out.
Well, I got it last night. Buddy of mine that's firefighter has been against Hillary big time. He's a Navy man, and he's like millions and millions of people against Hillary. Well, we were talking. I forget exactly what we were talking about. Oh, the WikiLeaks, some of the documents and the videos. And this guy started jumping all over us about the Russians, and they're not leaking documents. They're being partisan. They're not leaking documents on the Republicans. I was like, do you not remember the Bush WikiLeaks documents? Holy shit. Well,
right.
Yeah, well, that stuff was quite... No, it wasn't. The Democrats used those documents to know tomorrow. And that's what made me... Marco Rubio down here in Florida is like, guys, we shouldn't use those documents. Today it could be the Democrats. Tomorrow it could be us. Hey, jackass, it was already you. And none of the Democrats went, let's not use those documents. They went, how can we use these documents to screw them over in an election? And then it made me go... Okay, if you're saying it could be you next, what do you have in your emails that you don't want made public? Because I'm sorry, if you're in a public position, those opinions and everything you write is public property.
Right. Well, we're supposed to be entitled to those things because they're public servants. But again, going to being an adult, if my teenage son says, I find something in his email. Now, I'm not saying I'm reading his emails. I'm just using this as an example between child and parent. He comes in and I see something where he's destroying himself, destroying his life, destroying the house, robbing, stealing, thieving, being corrupt, and he says, well, you stole the email. I'm going to say, excuse me, we're talking about the content of the email.
Yep.
Because shining me on about where I got it from is not going to attack the problem, which is I'm concerned about you and what you're doing and what direction you're going, and this is taking us into a bad path. So it's like dealing with children. If you've dealt with children and you have had to mentor any children, they're going to come up with this, oh, but you this, that, I didn't do it, I didn't put my hand in the cookie jar kind of thing. And so I've started to deal with them on these topics when they start getting all crazy like that. I'll just, excuse me, follow my finger. We're going right back to what the topic is. I understand your feelings, but we're going back to the topic now because I'm your mommy and we're going to go this way.
And they think they're smart by distracting, and
some of it is a learned behavior. And if it's a service member, I don't usually just want to knock them down on the ground because then I'll think it's a learned behavior, and I kind of feel sorry for them. They've learned it to survive in a very crazy world for a service member. I think I might be being too nice. I'm not sure.
It drives me up a wall, and I've gotten into it where there's been some service members that are on the other side of the aisles, and I do not on any of my social media tell people they have to vote for Trump. That's not my spot. That's not my place. Everybody has the right to vote for who they want. I try not to tell people how to act. If you want to have a conversation, we'll have a conversation. Now, the problem with me is I'm a Jersey boy. You come at me, I'm going to come back at you harder. And I have no problem getting down in the dirt and going at it with somebody. In fact, that I enjoy those sometimes, especially in certain moods. I love doing that because, well, that's how I got the nickname of Royal Asshole. When I was a chief, that was my nickname. I was a Royal Asshole because I had no problem getting down in the dirt and going slinging with people.
I'm sorry. Just a second. There's someone at my door.
Right.
I'm on the radio. I'm voting for Richard Burr.
Okay, let's let you know that his wife and Sharon made the co-chair of the RC to be at our office on Saturday.
Great, thank you. I got the email. Oh, thanks so much. Okay, great. I'm so sorry.
No problem.
So there's a pollster at my door, and my poor son, he comes in, and I shake him off, and I'm on the radio. And he goes, so they're trying to be nice to each other. They're both like, we need the mom to come and save us. Like, I am the mother here. Everything is fine. I'm so sorry. I lost track of what you were saying.
When it comes to dealing with these liberals, I was saying, I'm a Jersey boy. You come at me, I'm going to come at you. And that's why I have no problem with Trump. I have no problem with the way he acts because it's a Jersey thing. It's a New York thing. You come at us, we're going to come at you harder. We're going to smack you even harder, metaphorically. And even if it's a military guy, I try to give him a little leeway.
Right.
But that doesn't mean that they have a right, because of service, to stomp all over my opinion or my opinion. They have a right to theirs. I try not to tell anybody they're wrong on their opinions. If they feel that they want to vote for Hillary, go right ahead. That's not my place. But if you want to go low and you want to start mudslinging, hey, that's my fun time. I'm going to swing right back at you. I'm going to swing hard. I have fun at that because do you know how many times I get blocked on Twitter? Because they think they're going to asshole me. And they'll try, and I've had it multiple times, they'll start spamming me. Well, I'm disabled. I'm home. Okay, I get bored very easy, so I'll just sit there and start spamming them right back.
Right.
And I've had them report me and block me, and it's, hey, look what they did. I paid, responded the way they responded to me, and I've never got suspended yet from Twitter.
Yeah, that group stalking, the Democrats usually have really perfected that art, and that's another tool of shame, mockery, humiliation, and to marginalize. They create numerous accounts, and they all come after you. So 2 or 3 of them, they tag each other, and they all know that it's an optic. Now, when they're dealing with each other, they live in an alternative universe from us. If you did that to me and you said, listen, I'm going to call you up and I'm going to tag you, and then we're going to get numerous fake accounts and we're going to go after that person, I would call you a chucklehead. And I would say, no, I'm not going to do that. It's childish, right? Yeah. They love it. They do it, and it's fun for them. And so, especially for people who are home alone, disabled, aren't they supposed to be the caring party? They love to go after people like you, again, because you are making a difference and encouraging people. They want to take you down. And so those kinds of online cyber wars and things, some people say, oh, they just kind of, well, whatever, not a big deal. It's actually psyops warfare.
Yep. But the thing is, I think they woke up a portion of this country that doesn't buy into that, and it doesn't affect them, because I just see people attacking back.
Yeah, some do. I mean, they do. They are effective. They have stifled the speech of many people who were using the internet to speak their minds, to find like-minded people, to find that, talk therapy, which is actually a real thing. And this methodology is very effective in quieting people, because everybody wants to be liked. And that's one of those rules for radicals, going back to that. They're extremely effective in making people humiliated and mocked for their opinion. And so what's changed in the last number of years is people like you who are saying, I'm not going to lay down and I'm not going to take it anymore. Because that shows people, okay, now you have someone that you can follow behind. Now you have someone you can be popular with. It's basic human nature. So, yeah, you got to keep fighting back, and you cannot allow them to quiet your voice.
And the other part is, I used to be a Democrat. And a lot of people, whether they want to admit it or not, probably had Democrat leanings in their youth. You're ill-informed of life.
Mm-hmm.
And I kind of went independent, because I'm not a person that's a follower. I don't follow. And I don't like being lumped in a group and all that. It's not me. There's problems with the Republican Party. I had a lot of problems with the Republican Party. And there's problems with the Democrat. The only reason why I'm a Republican right now is I was an independent for God knows how many years, registered. But everything that was going on with the Obama administration, I wanted to prove. One part of my voice was I went to the Republican Party, so the numbers went up to voice that I'm not happy with what's going on. That was my first step. So I know their tactics. I know the way they act. And my in-laws are diehard liberals. And now I've expanded my knowledge, too. I've seen the tactics my father-in-law uses, and I piss him off now because I use the same tactics back at him. We get discussing guns, and he would start throwing wild accusations at me and then start yelling and screaming. And at first I backed down because my father-in-law. Now it's my wife hates when they come down, because me and him are going to be screaming at each other the whole time, because we get talking politics and I won't back down. I won't anymore. And it infuriates him and frustrates him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because they're used to making a few comments. Oh, especially if you know any Germans. my ancestry, there's some Germans there, and if you know Germans, there's the way that they say something. There's just a look that they give. There's just a mocking tone, and you're supposed to sit down and be quiet, right?
Mm-hmm.
They'll say that you're not getting along with people because you don't agree with them, and so you better sit down and be quiet. That's another tactic that they use to make you be quiet. And what's really good that's happening now is we're all getting together and saying, I accept you, and I accept that you're not going to be quiet, and so we can be a group together. And you can talk to me over here because I'm feeling the same way. So it's very, very important for people especially people who are home and elderly people, disabled people, people who feel like they have never gotten to have their voice, to get online, to get on their social media, to find a purpose, speak about it, find groups of people just for a better quality of life. Because they have been quieted, they've been isolated. We have so many things that have changed in our culture. And they own so much of what happens out in groups and civics organizations that people are really getting shut in, I think. So that's kind of my little social worker coming out. Like, oh, those poor people, they're stuck at home and they don't get to say what's on their mind and they're going to start walking around in circles.
Well, it's sort of why my wife pushes me to do this show is from being stuck home. I started going stir crazy, and we were winding up in arguments for no reason because, you know, I have so much time on my hands. I'm sitting here thinking of some of the weirdest scenarios. So I started doing the show, and it was my mind had a escape. So it's helped our marriage too. I don't annoy my wife as much. I still annoy her. That's my job, but because I even checked with my lawyer because I was like, I'm going through disability. I'm like, I do this, 2 hours. I don't get paid for it. He's like, why are you doing it? I said, because it's sort of like I explained, keep from going stir crazy. He goes, okay, that's legal. You're not getting paid. You're not making money. You're not doing this a long period of time. Okay. He's like, we could justify why you're doing it.
And really, this is going to be the new wave of media.
Yeah.
The mainstream media is not going to be able to recover from what has happened to them. And so it's going to be people like you who know how to get on the radio and do that, who are going to be the new media and get the voice of other people together, organized together, and it's going to make a difference in the world. So if anybody can get on the radio, they should do it and try to link up with people who have media pages and use social media as a platform to promote. I've been talking on my posting on my Facebook page about Alex Jones, and I've never really quite paid that much attention to him because I sort of even bought into the propaganda of him being a conspiracy, kind of, really based in. And I think what it is he can become very emotional, and some people, just want facts. Some people want, news delivered this way, and he is an animated person. And so I think that a lot of us kind of shied away from listening to him. I know I've been following for the last few days, watching some of his videos, and he has gained about, in the last, just since I've been paying attention, which is just like 2 or 3 days now, over 10,000 subscribers on YouTube.
I don't have an issue with him.
That's incredible.
I don't have an issue with him, but number one, I try not to listen to any other talk host. I noticed very early on I was listening to Rush too much. I started sounding like him. I started listening to a couple, and I started inadvertently imitating what their style was. So I kind of stopped listening to. So I kind of keep my own way of doing it.
That's a good idea.
But with him, sometimes he has information, and I know he does, but his over-the-top that he does, the other half, cancels out his credibility with the other information. You know what I mean? He goes over the top sometimes, and it blows out the rest of his message. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and so, but he's bringing some entertainment in with some news, and to critique him personally, I don't know, but following what impact he's making in the world is huge. Now, I used to be kind of a little mentoree of Andrew Breitbart way back in the day. I had been posting about Saul Alinsky and community organizing for I don't know how long, years before I ran into Andrew Breitbart, who we know, you must know the name Breitbart. He used to be a Democrat. I used to be a progressive, almost progressive communist social worker for a little while I was younger. Many of us in the mind frame, in the movement, if we want to call it that, used to be Democrats. And who better to tell you what they're doing than us, right? Than you and I and the Andrew Breitbarts of the world. But Andrew always used to talk about citizen journalism, and he really was, speaking to my heart on that topic many years ago. And he has such past. I don't know if you know the history, or your listeners do. But that was really his baby, citizen journalism, and he was convinced that that was the way to bring back ethics and morality as far as what, right and wrong. Not necessarily religious or spiritual or anything, but just right and wrong so that we could exist together in a civil society, was the citizen journalism. And so, I don't know that he knew what was going to happen with technology, although he's passed recently. It's not, it's in our recent history, not too long ago. But to think back to the things that he was saying, and to see what's happening now, it's really exciting to see what people are doing, and can just have these talk shows. You don't know who you're going to gather up. So and also you being your own journalist and not taking on somebody else's style is smart, because we're going to need a lot of different people with a lot of different personality styles to attract the lost people who are going to have no media, because they're bleeding. They're bleeding watchers. They can't even, I don't know how they're going to pay their bills if they're not paid by the government anymore. So this is just a really interesting time to be alive and watch politics. But one more thing that I was thinking of when you said that about being a Democrat was, I remember watching something online about a communist. It was during Reagan's era, and there was a communist who was talking about how they had infiltrated American society and how they have used, their tools to bring about this message. He was an ex-Soviet KGB guy or something. And he was saying that their opponents who were so fiercely against them were ex-communist and ex-KGB, and it struck a chord with me. That's why we, ex-progressives, we are so opposed to what's happening, because we're the ones who know, right?
Yeah.
We understand the fibers of this thing, and we have been burned. And that's where the terminology "useful idiot" came from. So, we were the people who know. Well, there's some other threads there that go along, but I was going to find that video maybe and show it to you. But yeah, so I used to be I'm an ex-progressive. I call myself, Ken is actually the one who came up with it for me, a repentant progressive. And I still use that. That's Ken. He gave that to me.
Ken's a great guy. I love him. He was very helpful when I first started, too. But we're going to take a quick break, and then we're going to come back. We're going to finish the show, and then it's weekend and party time. So you're listening to the Reaver of Common Sense right here on SHR Media, High Plains Pundit Radio, ICRN Network, Red Nation Rising Radio, YouTube, Spreaker, and iTunes. We will be right back.
Listening to the SHR Media Network. Now, Brownells, we know you may have only one shot to harvest that trophy, so we have thousands of accessories and replacement parts to improve your chances. We know how much you love to shoot, so our gunsmiths articles and videos will help you do more and get more out of your guns. We also value your hard work and money. That's why only Brownells backs up everything we sell with a 100% unconditional lifetime guarantee. Brownells, the world's largest supplier of firearm accessories and gunsmithing tools.
Breaking news. According to the latest report coming out of SHR Media, a merchandise store to support both the Reaver of Common Sense and SHR Media has just been unleashed to the general public. Be forewarned that this site can be contagious and numerous items can be purchased to support the best news programming. Go to Reaver.one website and click on the store link to check out the merchandise.
You have been listening to of Common Sense, hosted by my dad, Jersey Joe. Beware, the Jersey Takeover is here. Every Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You can catch the Reaver of Common Sense show, hosted by Jersey Joe, right here on shrmedia.com and highplainsdailynews.com. Only Jersey can deliver hell like no one else, so consider this your fair warning.
In a world controlled by corrupt politicians,
You got a business. You didn't build that.
a team of ordinary men emerge from the ashes to give voice to the voiceless and hope to the hopeless. Sackhead Sean,
Dude, I'm not saying cop for the stupid pro.
Sackhead Clint,
All good friends of ours usually show up drunk.
also starring Sacco as the producer.
I'm a little bit drunk, I'm a little bit drunk, 'cause I'm drinking, drinking, drinking.
They are the Sackheads Radio Show. Every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Pacific on shrmedia.com.
Every Wednesday night, 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, you can catch the Southside Mutt Show with its host, the Jersey Boys, Jersey Joe and Crash, right here on SHR Media and High Plains Pundit Radio, where we will be digging up the dirt.
Times are dark. The people misled by corrupt politicians, lied to by establishment media, and deceived by the false messages of Islam. A nation in confusion needs a guide. It needs a man with a cane. I'm Dave Milner. Join me on Spreaker, SHR Media, High Plains Talk Radio, Live Rebooting Liberty, and YouTube for a unique brand of commentary on the unpleasant blind guide. Because truth is not always pleasant.
If you miss a show, don't worry. You can catch the replays two ways, rebootingliberty.com or the reaverofcommonsense.com. While you're there on Reaver of Common Sense, don't forget, drop in your email and keep up to date on everything going on, or click the like button on the Facebook widget. Now on to the Reaver of Common Sense.
Listening to the SHR Media Network.
This show contains language that some viewers may find offensive. Listener discretion is advised. And now on to the show. And welcome back to the Reaver of Common Sense. I am your host, Jersey Joe, and I got a special guest, Carrie Donovan. Well, let's get right back into it. Do you want to tell a story you were just telling me, or no?
Well, sure. I was telling the story about yesterday. I met at the polling place where I was working at polls. I met a man who's running for office, and he was relaying to me that he was a Democrat. And I was sitting with a man who one son is in the 82nd Airborne in the Army, and one son is a Marine. And he and I had been talking about, we were talking about rocks or something. I don't know. We're having this very deep conversation about the earth and rocks, whatever. And then this man came over to introduce himself, and he said, I'm a Marine. And they started talking, their military thing. And the man that I was talking to originally about the rocks said, what party? And he said, I'm a Democrat. And the man that I was talking to just about came unglued. He was just like, that's just terrible. We were just talking about Obama and the Second Amendment and all of these things that are important to most military people. And so I got so fired up. I don't know. Something came across me. So he was telling me, why do you support Trump? And I said, how could you possibly support Hillary? First of all, I resent being forced to live under a feminist. And he said, well, don't you want equal rights? And my mind is just about ready to explode at this point, because I'm thinking to myself, how could you have served the United States of America and not known? I have always been equal. I have never been mistreated by a man. I've never had my rights denied to me by any man. Women, yes. Feminists, yes. A man, no. It's never happened to me. So for him, and I said, for you to tell me, a man, for you to tell me as a man that I have been victimized by men, and for me to tell you that I haven't, and for you to disregard that is sexism, isn't it?
Yeah.
I'm just asking, right?
Yeah.
So he didn't like that. And then I said, also, the other thing that really, really annoys me about Hillary is she's corrupt. Did you look at the WikiLeaks emails? Well, you don't know. They're all corrupt. I said, no, they're not all corrupt. Then he said, well, Trump supported the war in Iraq. I said he wasn't in office. How could he support the war in Iraq, yet you want to put in office a woman who did vote for the war? Well, blah, 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 blah. I said, okay, fine. Then he said, don't tell me something, about supporting the military. I said, obviously, I absolutely support the military. And the thing about Benghazi, so, I have spoken to Chris Parenteau. I would say I know him a little bit, but only through different, hearing him speak and talking to him afterwards and maybe, chatting a little on Facebook, extent of it. But I just had that thing well up in me, and I just looked at him. I said, how could you tell me to go back to my friends and tell them that it was okay for them to get left behind, because I knew from my great-grandfather that was not true. And I looked at him, and he stopped smirking. He kept smirking at me, and I kept saying, don't you smirk at me like that. And I felt terrible, because I'm speaking to a service member. I'm speaking to a Marine. And I want to have respect for him and respect for his service. But I forgot about it for a couple of minutes. And I said, don't you smirk at me. We do not leave people behind. Well, he just kind of lifted his head up. He put his hand out to shake my hand, and I walked away for a second. Like, I took just a step away from him. Because I thought, I'm going to walk away from you. Like, I'm a woman now. I'm going to use the power of the walk away. But as I'm walking away, and he was walking away, just kind of with his head down, I just put my hand out, and I shook, in the back, like, all right, I'm acknowledging your service. But this is serious to me, and it's not necessarily about party. It's about that thing with Benghazi. That will fire me up every single time, to part of everything American, everything right and wrong.
The list goes on and on when it comes to Hillary, and it's not party, but it goes on and on about everything that's wrong with politics nowadays. From open borders, Benghazi, corruption, pay-to-play, the scandals that have surrounded the Clinton for 30 years, and it just goes on and on and on, and I'm tired of that kind of stuff. You mentioned Kane and the WikiLeaks, and one of the articles that I came across is Kane is trying to say that the WikiLeaks have been tampered with. So a reporter it says, if you're trying to influence an election at the end, why would you assume any of it is true? He asked reporters on Thursday, suggesting that the group was tinkering with the content or that the email was manipulated. Well,
more psychops. Yeah.
Well, he kind of gets put in his place, because then the NBC reporter turns around and said, which emails have been manipulated with?
Right.
He starts backtracking. I actually read one example yesterday, but actually I'm reading too many stories. I can't pin it down which one it was. Somebody was saying, I don't think I ever sent that. When confronted, he couldn't pin it down and had to backtrack, and now he looks like a blithering idiot to me. I already thought that, but worse now.
And what would an adult say? An adult would say, well, those are the chances that she took when she decided to have an insecure server in her house.
Yep.
And so we wanted to have an investigation on those kinds of things, except we couldn't, because she deleted them. And she had everybody playing these games. So if I have to sit and be logical about do I judge her on these emails or not, how about if I just go to the fact, then forget whatever the content is. Let's just say that what she did with having the server in her house was wrong. Therefore, she's ineligible. End of story. Goodbye.
Exactly. And one of the things that, with what you just said, just popped in my head. I hate that people are, well, Trump should have said this, Trump should have said that. There's so many things that's going through his head. When you're doing a debate, you can't always come up with everything. We, have a little bit more time to think about it. But when she was going on that Russia was doing all this hacking, I wish he would have pointed out that they're hacking secured servers. The DNC servers, for the most part, is a secure server. NSA, FBI. Russia's hacking into all of them. But her homebrew server was unsecure, but yet she says hers wasn't hacked. What makes hers so special that hers couldn't be hacked, but the top secret servers could be hacked by Russia? And that would have thrown it right in her lap of, I got to defend my emails again.
Right. So going back to, those are the consequences of having a secure server that is not secured the way that it's supposed to be. So why are we even talking about look over here, look over here, look over here, vote for me because I want to run the world? Yeah. The answer is still no. No, you cannot. You should just base on the fact that you did that thing right there.
I was brought up, I love this country. This country means everything to me. Are we at a low point? Do we have a lot of problems? Yes, but that still does not stop my patriotism for the country. My patriotism says there's borders. We're not open borders. I'm not for this one world government, and I'm tired of the bullshit of, that's tinfoil conspiracy. No, it isn't. Take a look at the UN files. They openly admit that's what they're doing. It is.
Well, here's where
Go ahead.
Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say, well, here's where I go with that. Everything to them is relative based on their feelings. Everything is based on their feelings and how they're feeling. So we can up and shift our entire policy based on their feelings. Yet, we can't base any of our policy on what is actually happening that has changed in the world. So we didn't used to have all of these problems with Syria and refugees and ISIS. We have them now. We can't be realistic. We can't talk about those things that are new developments. But their feelings can be new developments on every hour to make us change every policy that affects us in our homes daily. But we can't have a national discussion on things that are happening in reality. Yeah. So it's like you can change every hour your feelings, but we can't change policy based upon factual things that are happening in the world. How is that logical?
Well, perfect example. I think would be a perfect example. The Orlando nightclub shooting. It was a Muslim extremist who shot up a gay Hispanic nightclub. And what did the Democrats do? Instead of going, holy shit, we were wrong. We need to secure our borders. We need to watch what we're doing. We need to protect. We're so for the LGBT community. We need to actually relook at our stuff. No, they diverted to their feelings about guns and ignored the facts that these extreme Muslims hate gays.
Right. They're never Americans with us. They're never considering the country, the good of the country, above the good of their party.
Yep.
They're always aligned with their party. Now, there's good and bad to that. That's why they win. But they also, that's why they can distort any ethical, moral foundation that they have in order to cheat.
Yeah.
Because everything is about winning for the party.
I think it was said best by Fogle. They've been rigging the elections for 50 years, and they're going to keep doing it. And they know and count on the Republicans playing by the rules. They count on it. And I've said that plenty of times.
Yeah. We're good rule followers. But there are some of us who have decided we'll go gulp we'll experiment a little bit with seeing how they like it. If you break a rule, they will become unhinged, almost to the point that they can't participate. So there's a little secret for you.
It's funny how their secret's out and they're just trying to deflect and ignore. James O'Keefe has actually filed a FEC lawsuit against Hillary's campaign. There are several other groups that have filed lawsuits or complaints with FEC about the evidence. And I think the one that really made me laugh on social media, some guy's like, well, they've gotten in trouble with their past, so I'm not going to believe them. I was like, no, they didn't get in trouble. Well, they were indicted, and all charges were thrown out by the court, and the court said they did not break a single law. So where'd they get in trouble? Block. I love that. I love sorry for putting it this way. Hopefully I don't offend you, but it gives me a hard-on when when a liberal blocks me, because I know I won that argument. The other one is if you call me a racist, I'm like, I just won that argument because you had nothing to go on.
That's right. It's true. I don't get the racist thing, by the way. So this is one of those times when there's a liberal who's discussing with me why it's so offensive that I'm a racist to them, especially if it's like a white male who's telling me I'm a racist. And this is one of those times where my brain just stops, and I'm trying to follow the logic here, and I'm really having a hard time.
Well, no one's been able to explain.
I don't think I'm a racist. I think you're a racist.
I don't know how.
What do you mean? I'm not a racist. And I'll say, well, wait a minute, because my opinion, I am offended by you because you are a racist. And if you do attack them, they will end up turning around and stomping off. They cannot participate. They will fall apart. So that's my new thing. If anybody calls me a racist, I don't have to absorb that. It's like I tell my children, again, I'm mommy, and I tell my children, just because somebody calls you something doesn't mean it's true. You don't have to absorb that into your heart. What you do is you say to them, I think that you're that thing. Well, play that game. Go there. And then watch what happens.
Two quick stories, because we only got like 2 minutes. I had a guy, we were talking about Hillary Clinton and Kane. Or no, Hillary Clinton and Robert Byrd. And he turned around and called me a racist because I was proving that Hillary Clinton was kissing a KKK member. So a white man was accusing a white woman kissing a white male who was a KKK member, but I'm the racist. I was like, how the hell did that logic come about? My daughter...
That's what I say. You look like a cartoon character. What is that?
My daughter is in 6th grade, and they held an election just recently. And everybody in her class except her, they voted for Hillary. My daughter was the lone Trump vote. So now the kids are trying to make fun of her, and they just call her Trump now. And he's going to lose, and he's going to lose. And my daughter's like, why are they doing that, Dad? I said, they're trying to mock you and make fun of you. Why? That's not funny. It's kind of lame. I just stood back and just started laughing. And it made me proud, not because she said she voted for Trump, because she stood against the whole class and said, this is what I think, and I'm not changing it.
Yeah, good for her. That's awesome.
So I told her if Trump wins, she's to ask the teacher for extra credit because she was the only one that didn't follow along to get along.
Better skills of projection, statistics, and was able to analyze things to deduce. Therefore, she has better problem-solving skills than the entire class.
Yeah. She said she'll stand up and she'll say it, that she was the only one that didn't. She deserves extra credit. So, I hate to cut you off, but actually we're overtime now today.
Oh, hey, it was great. Thanks for the opportunity to chat with you.
Hey, anytime you want, all you do is if you have something you want to bitch about, just send me a text. Hey, I'm calling to come online. Call me up and I'll throw you right online. I don't mind.
That will be like, then you'll not be able to sift through the numerous messages. I always have something on my mind.
Anytime you want, and it's an honest, open invitation. I don't say what I don't mean.
That's very kind. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
No problem. And I loved having you on today. It was one of my better shows.
Awesome. It's great.
You have a great weekend. And to everybody else, you've been listening to the Reaver of Common Sense right here on SHR Media, High Plain Pundit Radio, ICRN Network, Red Nation Rising Radio, YouTube speaker, and iTunes. And you have a great weekend. See you Monday. You've been listening to the Reaver of Common Sense with its host, Jersey Joe. You can tune in every day, Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on hppundit.com and shrmedia.com.